My grandfather, James, fought in World War II. He was drafted in 1943 at 23, and he's 105 years old now. A few days ago, he shared a story he calls the most horrifying experience of his life. I asked if it involved Japanese soldiers, known for their ferocity back then. He said, no, it was something else. I'm not sure if it's true, but it gave me chills. He says nobody believed him and his friend, but he remembers it clear as day. And it still gives him nightmares. In 1943, he was stationed in the Philippines to hold off the Japanese. He forgot the exact province, but he recalled it being a mountainous area in Luzon, full of dense forests and scattered villages. One day, he and his friend Thomas, who passed away decades ago, got separated from their platoon. Lost in a forested mountain area, they ventured deeper, calling for their comrades. I asked, why didn't you radio your platoon? He said they tried, but all they got was static and unintelligible noise. It worried them, but Thomas urged calm, saying they needed to tread carefully in case they encountered Japanese soldiers. As the sun began to set, they emerged from the forest. James suggested setting up camp, and Thomas agreed. In the distance, they spotted a small wooden hut and decided to take shelter there. They knocked and checked, but found no one, just scattered clothes. Maybe they fled in panic, James said, and Thomas nodded. They set up camp and ate dinner. Thomas suggested taking shifts to keep lookout, in case they got ambushed in their sleep. James agreed. While James slept, Thomas shook him awake, whispering, I spotted movement. James grabbed his rifle and asked where. Thomas handed him binoculars and pointed to a field 300 yards away. At first, James saw nothing, but then he noticed something moving in the dark. A wild boar. It's just a pig, he told Thomas. Thomas peered through the binoculars. That's weird. It's just standing there, he said, unsettled. James laughed, thinking Thomas's mind was playing tricks. Then, the oil lamp providing their light flickered and died. James checked it, found plenty of oil, and relit it. Moments later, it went out again, plunging them into darkness. As he went to check it, Thomas, terrified, said, It's gone. What the hell are you talking about? James asked. The pig. It just disappeared into thin air. Thomas explained that he'd been watching the boar through the binoculars when it vanished. Suddenly, a loud thud came from above, as if something landed on the roof. Both grabbed their rifles. We need to get the hell out of here, Thomas whispered. James urged him to stay calm and quiet. They gripped their rifles, waiting in silence. Then Thomas started screaming. James turned on his flashlight and saw something horrifying. A tongue-like appendage lodged in Thomas's neck. Thomas screamed, trying to pull it free. Snapping out of shock, James fired at the ceiling, aiming for whatever the tongue belonged to. After several shots, it retracted through a hole in the roof. Thomas, clutching his bleeding neck, pressed a cloth against the wound as James instructed. They grabbed their gear, fled the hut, and ran. James turned and shined his light on the roof. What he saw was the most evil-looking thing he'd ever encountered. I asked him to describe it. He said it was humanoid, with bat-like wings larger than its body, coal-black skin, wild, unkempt hair, and glowing red eyes. Its mouth, filled with sharp fangs, seemed to grin menacingly. James and Thomas fired every round in their rifles, but the creature just stared, unfazed. Screaming, they ran for their lives. Miraculously, it didn't pursue them. They reached a village at dawn, where locals explained that they'd encountered an Aswang, a creature common in the countryside. They said they were blessed to have survived. Days later, they reunited with their platoon. Some believed their story. Others thought they'd been drunk or hit by enemy gunfire. explaining Thomas's wound. After the war, they returned home, but James never forgot the encounter. It left him with severe PTSD. Thomas passed away in the 1980s from a stroke. I've spent the past hour Googling Aswangs, and the story still freaks me out. Even now, at 105, James swears it was no hallucination. He says the Aswang's eyes still haunt him, a reminder of the terrors beyond the war itself. What are your thoughts on this? If you like the story, then hit the like button and subscribe the channel.